In every age, justice has not only punished, it has performed. Torments scarred into flesh, others into iron, and some into the very stones of history. Here are 3 chilling examples from the ancient world, punishments of the mind and body. Number 1. Rhinocorura, the city of cut noses. On the edge of Egypt, where the deserts bleed into obscurity, lies a city of legend whose very name carried fear across the sands. Rhinocorura, the city of the cut noses. Ancient Greek historian Diodorus Siculus, writing in the 1st century BC, tells us, Astisances the Ethiopian, when he caught any Egyptians committing robbery, did not put them to death, but cutting off their noses, settled them in a city which he founded, and called it Rhinocorura. To modern ears it sounds like an unethical nightmare, an entire settlement of disfigured criminals, their crimes carved into their faces. But in the ancient world, mutilation was not unusual as a mark of justice. Cutting off the nose, lips, or ears was a way to brand a person for life, punishment made personal and more permanent than chains. Ancient Greek geographer Strabo repeats the legend. They say that the city was peopled by criminals whose noses had been cut off. Modern historians argue whether Rhinocorura was truly a penal colony, or whether this was a tale told by Greeks to explain a strange name. Yet the horror of it lingers. Imagine an exile not only into the unforgiving heat of the desert, but into a community where every face was mutilated, every man and woman marked with the same brutal scars. Not a city of atonement, but a city of living consequence. Number 2. The Masks of Shame, Europe's Iron Silence. Centuries later, in Europe's narrow streets, punishment took another form: humiliation cast in iron. The scold's bridle, also called a brank, was an iron contraption fitted over the head, locked under the chin, with a cruel spiked plate pressing down upon the tongue. A muzzle of silence. A 17th century account from Newcastle described it vividly. The branks had a bridle bit which entered the mouth and kept down the tongue, so that the offender could not speak. A bell was fastened on top to draw the notice of the people. The punishment was public. The wearer paraded through the town square, mocked and jeered, stripped of humanity, objectified and humiliated. The first recorded usage came from Scotland in 1567. Predominantly used on women, it was seen as a mirrored punishment, reflecting the nature of the supposed crime. Women accused of gossip, nagging, scolding, or being a drunkard were subjected to the bridle. By modern principles, these would hardly be crimes, but the past held much to a different standard, and women were certainly victim to its cruelty. Surviving examples in museums show just how grotesque these devices became. Some were forged into animal faces, mocking the wearer. Others had spikes inside the gag to tear at the tongue if the victim tried to speak. And though rooted in Europe, records suggest they travelled with colonists, appearing across the ocean in the New World of the Americas. The iron mask of shame became part of the cultural baggage of discipline, exported, adapted, and inflicted right up to the mid-19th century. Number 3. Damnatio memoriae, erased from existence. The thief bore his scar, the gossip wore her silence, but Rome struck at something invisible. erasing a man's name as though he had never lived. They called it damnatio memoriae, the condemnation of memory. It was more than a sentence of death. It was erasure, a condemned man's name chiseled from inscriptions, his statues smashed, his portraits defaced, his face scratched off coins. One famous inscription in Rome still bears the scars, the name of the emperor Geta, brother of Caracalla, violently struck out by a mason's chisel after his murder. The name of Geta has been erased from the stone, struck out by chisel as if to strike out his life a second time. It was political theatre, meant to strip a man of honour, lineage, and remembrance, to deny not only his life, but his legacy. And yet, damnatio memoriae never worked as perfectly as Rome intended. Coins survive, with faces scratched but still visible. Statues endure, mutilated but recognizable. In trying to destroy a man's memory, Rome instead ensured he would be remembered forever, not for his life, but for his erasure. An irony that twists the term, history is written by the victor. 3 punishments across 3 ages. Each reveals a different fear. Fear of thieves, fear of unruly voices, fear of dangerous legacies. And each displayed a different malice. Scar the body, silence the voice, erase the name. Yet across deserts, iron and stone, their stories survive. And even when history tries to forget, the scars remain. Follow Footprints in Blood for more gruesome history.